Hello everybody, welcome to Been My Pleasure. Joining me today is my friend Marky Mark, and today we're going to discuss a guest concern. All right, welcome back to Been My Pleasure. Today's guest concern has to do with food in the restaurant. Recently, I have it off camera, so I'll just go ahead and read it to you off the top of my head. A guest was in our restaurant. Well, not my restaurant, but my friend's restaurant. Archibald Sweatpants III. You can check him out by clicking here. And his guest complaint was, I was in your restaurant the other night and ordered a baked potato, and your guest told me you were all out of baked potatoes. How can that even happen? How can you function as a restaurant if you're going to run out of food? I know how this happens, but Marky Mark, would you care to comment?
Well, a lot of things. Number one, it boils down to inventory space. Unfortunately, our kitchens are very limited in size, and in my experience, we only have one steamer, and so a lot of items that have to go through the steamer, the baked potatoes, the ribs, are typically items we're short on. Now, a lot of that goes into proper preparation and partitioning out portions, in a more efficient manner. You can better utilize that, but a lot of it is just inventory systems. Capacity. I mean, you do have a very limited amount of space, and unfortunately, that affects my job, your job. When we have to go and tell a customer, hey, we're out of this item that you want, that automatically sets back their experience. So now I have to play catch up. So this is a very real concern that a lot of us face on a daily basis in these restaurants that, are casual dining, or lower to mid-level dining, because they have very limited size and they're all about, hey, let's get the quantity. We want to get customers in and out. And so, they pump through all this food and they just don't have enough space to keep it all.
Well, let me expand on that. For those of you wondering why you would use a steamer for ribs and potatoes in the first place, it's a high quality steamer. It's more like a pressure cooker, to be honest with you. And but it's a large steaming device. Why we don't have enough food in the restaurant is exactly what he's talking about. We've talked about this in the past at the casual dining experience. In the back of the house, the management side of things, the operating business side of things, it's not at all casual. It's been micromanaged very finitely so that as much money as possible can leave the restaurant and go to the corporate owners who don't lift a finger while they're there. And they still manage to pay less than minimum wage to your server staff. So those of you who are on the server side of things and thinking it's not my fault they ran out of food and your guests should be complaining directly to the corporate level, bring it up on your surveys that I know many of you have, which is what I do. I do that for things such as the tables are out unkept, like somebody has scarred them with keys or whatever. I will ask my guests to use their survey response to do things to increase that. I've asked my guests to use their survey response to increase the request for items in the restaurant. But hopefully they'll take it to heart, but it's unlikely they will because, again, there's limited space, so they need to micromanage exactly what their budget is for that week, or sometimes even 3 days. We do deliveries twice a week. Do you do deliveries twice a week?
Yes. I mean, we obviously have shipments from various suppliers when it comes to alcohol and food, and so I know they have shipments coming in at least 2 days a week from various suppliers.
Right. So imagine, if you will, on the server side, imagine, if you will, you were working in San Diego, for example, or some coastal region where you're selling seafood and it's the daily cost, and when you run out, and it's more acceptable in that environment. They get that. Here, where we're at in Phoenix, and possibly potentially other places, they won't get that, especially if it's a beef or pork product. They're going to wonder why you don't have that, especially because we have both beef, dairy, and pork slaughter facilities very close to the valley. They've only recently been displaced by its expansion and growth. But sometimes this happens. You can't anticipate all needs. For example, we talked about a quinceañera the other day, and if you have a couple of parties of that size that come in, you might run out of produce and product, and that's just something you need to convey. That's why you have 86 products throughout the night. You're aware of them before they happen. If you find out after the fact, then you're talking about approaching your table and trying to do a recovery. So in approaching the table to do a recovery, I'm sorry, it has just come to my attention that we've recently run out of XYZ due to unusual demand earlier this afternoon. That's a good one. Is there anything else I can do in place of that? Now, you might, most of the time, 99 times out of 100, I would say my guests are perfectly content to just look at a menu and order something else. But if you get a guest that demands that the rest of their meal for their entire family and themselves is free in addition to what they're about to order, and they want an extra dessert, Marky Mark?
Well, obviously there has to be a certain level of practicality involved when dealing with customers. One of the things that I really find helpful when dealing with problems or situations that arise with customers is coming up with solutions with them that are practical. No, I see a lot of the times what happens with a lot of servers is a problem arises and they immediately get disoriented and they're like, let me just go get the manager. Right? No, if you come up with a solution on the spot there that the customer agrees with, then you guys have already solved the problem. But there has to be a certain sense of practicality. Obviously, you can't comp an entire family of 5's meals. But, let's say, we're out of baked potatoes. I still got mashed potatoes, I still got crispy red potatoes, I got french fries, tell them all these different sides. And a lot of the times, like you said, they're going to be like, okay, let me get something different, right? No, it's coming up with easy solutions. And that takes a lot of stress off management, allows you to do your job more effectively, and it helps to prevent a lot of problems from arising.
Right. All right, well, those are great answers, and they're going to segue nicely into our next segment, because what he just described kind of goes into our next one, tips for tips. We're going to discuss things that you can do, that can help people generate additional revenue from their tip share and gratuities. You willing to go forward with that?
Of course.
All right. Well, my friends, if you would like to see that, by all means, click on my pixelated friend's face to subscribe to this channel. All right, we're going to talk about that in the next couple segments. If you've enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up. If you're still confused about why you can't have food that you ordered when you went to the Magic Box restaurant and said, I want this, give us a thumbs down. However, until next time, thank you again for joining us. My name is JC. It has been my pleasure.